Hello, my name is Connie Reimers Hill, and I'm an extension educator at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Kimmel Educational Research Center in Nebraska City, Nebraska. I'm also coordinator of Southeast Nebraska's I2E Club, our Inventors, Investors, and Entrepreneurs Club. And today, I have the good fortune of interviewing Mark Patterson, Vice President of FiveStat. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and his experiences. Part of the purpose of I2E, Mark, as you know, is really to help educate entrepreneurs, inventors, and even investors. And we want to help educate people through those people who have been doing it for some time. So we'd like to learn from you, really, because you've done it and have that experience. So we're very appreciative of your time here today, and we're excited to have you here. But we'd like to garner some of your insights. So if you could tell us a little bit about what you do, and then kind of compare and contrast your experiences as an entrepreneur, which I know you've started businesses in the past, but also as your current position in FiveStat.
Well, sure. I guess I should start at the top and tell you that I'm Vice President of Operations, which really doesn't mean a whole lot other than I'm responsible for the fiscal well-being of our company. That includes a lot of different things, and FiveStat, as I'll explain in the presentation a little bit later, is a subsidiary of StoreKraft. The mother company is a manufacturing facility. It's a little bit different in that FiveStat is a technology company, and I'll explain that a little bit later as well, but I mean, there's a lot of pieces to it. But to be sure, I think that, which is part of the reason why I asked you the question to begin with about your definition of entrepreneur, because I mean, we see it the same in our business. We would like to think that we act the same way with respect to risk and initiative as it applies to doing any kind of business. But the truth is that corporate life is heavily siloed sometimes, and corporate cultures aren't what they should be, and it is not the same as having the same skin in the game as if you were an individual. But if that's what you mean, there's quite a few comparisons.
Do you think it's important for people to be entrepreneurial within an organization, even if they aren't the founder?
I think it's important for them to try. And to that end, we go way out of our way to make sure that we unbind them and at least put them in a position, in a scenario that causes creativity, not helps it along, but actually causes it. Creativity is one of the easiest things to destroy in corporate life, but I'm happy to say that it is not that way at StoreKraft. And I'm not just saying that because we're being recorded. I'm telling you that because I joined that staff for that very reason. Their corporate culture is such that regardless of what position you have, you take on an ownership mentality, and that is extremely conducive to entrepreneurial tendencies. Anyway.
You bet. Well, one of my passions is creativity and innovation, especially in organizations. And especially that connection with leadership. What do you see are some of the connections? What do leaders need to do in organizations, and how does leadership influence or deter creativity and innovation?
Oh boy, there's a lot of ways. I think the flippant answer would be the best thing that leaders can do is get out of the way sometimes. And then the real answer is they can get out of the way. I see my job very plainly. It is to provide the people that are charged with producing revenue all of the tools necessary to do that job, and then give them the encouragement, not unlike an athletic coach, but in fact it's very similar because there's some discipline involved, and then there's some analysis and all types of measurements that need to be taken along the way. But more times than not, it is really letting them do what we've hired them to do, and that's create.
Go ahead.
That's the best way to put it.
Well, part of being entrepreneurial, whether you start a business or within an organization, is opportunity recognition, and it sounds like you want your employees to be able to recognize opportunities. Are there things that you can do as a leader or things as an organization that you do to help employees develop those opportunity recognition skills?
Oh, absolutely. We are definitely on the same page. Opportunity recognition in our environment, we lovingly call it pain points of customer. Whenever we go in to a sales scenario, instead of the traditional sales pitch of, here's the type of wares that we have, these are the things that we can do for you, blah, 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 we take the stance that we're going to shut up and listen and let them talk about their business. And the more times that we do that, the more wins we have. And I'll give you a little bit of an example. You get them talking about their business, and then all of a sudden, from a loss prevention standpoint, they'll tell you, well, this last year we had a 4% loss in revenue as a result of internal theft. And then bing, the light goes off, and we're saying, okay, here's how we can, create a solution set around their need. It is recognizing what those pain points are, because there's no, if they don't have any pain, then all we are offering them is a pretty face on something else.
Wow.
And so that's why we categorize it. So we teach our folks to really hone in on those things.
That's awesome. I mean, and listening is such a hard thing to do, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We think we're doing it, and sometimes we're not. So to equate that with part of opportunity recognition, I just think is a wonderful, wonderful concept, especially as an organization. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit.
Sure.
I realize that, while you have a presence in Nebraska, you're also very much a global business. With the green trend coming into play, are there some things that you're doing to be a sustainable business, but also watching that bottom line as well?
Sure. Actually, I think we can do both. The green initiative, it's really debatable as to whether it's an initiative or not. And more times than not, we see it as a mandate. And so whenever we hear mandate, we think, well, we are either going to participate in this game as a leader, or we're going to follow and do what everybody else is doing. And so, as you may or may not know, the LEED certification surrounding this green initiative. Outside of the typical things that you do in manufacturing, alternative materials, processes that are involved in the manufacture that reduce energy costs. What we focus on, especially on the technology side, is that reduction of energy consumption.
Sure.
And so as you will see later on in the presentation, we have a drop-down case that we created, we invented, and outside of the lighting systems that are typically 110 power or 120 volt, we now run this lighting system off of a 24 volt driver and LED lights. LED lights most people know about already. But what they don't know is that the motors that are driving these lift mechanisms and other items, other functional movement items in the case, are all low voltage. So whenever you go into a mandate-issued environment, we say, look, especially in some of these huge metropolitan areas, you got a new store goes in and they only have a limit of how much they can use. We allow them, by leading in that field, to not worry about the powering of these cases, these showcases, because it's all low voltage systems.
That's great.
That's the biggest way that we're attacking it at this point. There's some other things that we do. Some of it's pretty complicated, but it has to do with the electronics and the type of electronics that are being used.